it's Emily, and today I'm going to bring you part 2 of my June wrap-up. So today I'm going to cover the last 4 books I read in June, so let's just get right into it. First book I finished in the latter part of June was my Jane Austen mystery for the month. This one is the Jane and the Prisoner of Wool House. This is number 6 in the series. This one details Jane is in Southampton with her brother Frank, and one of Frank's good Navy friends has been accused of breaking the Navy law, and so he was accused of murdering an enemy after the enemy had surrendered, which is a big no-no in the Navy, and so he's sentenced to death, and he's in the Navy prison in Southampton. And so Frank does not believe that his friend, and the friend's name is Tom, that Tom could have done this, and so he recruits Jane to help him search out for the real killer, and they uncover this big plot between Tom's first mate and then some other people, and they discover, of course, that Tom did not commit the murder, and so they are on a quest to figure out who did. So it was a fun romp, typical cozy mystery, and, well, maybe not entirely cozy, but definitely not like blood, guts, murder everywhere. But yeah, it's a really cute series, and I really enjoy it. In the latter part of June, for my workbook, I read Julie and Julia, My Year of Cooking Dangerously by Julie Powell, and you've probably heard about this book, or at least heard about the movie, which has Amy Adams as Julie Powell and Meryl Streep as Julia Child. And this is Julie's memoir of cooking through the entire Mastering the Art of French Cooking in 1 year. There's 524 recipes, and so it details, at the start of the book, she works for a government agency, and this is taking place in like 2003, 2004, so it's pretty close after 9/11, and her agency is responsible for the memorial, and so she talks about like all day she gets calls about the memorial and people complaining and people offering ideas, and so she's pretty stuck in a rut at work, and she decides to start on this project to give her something to look forward to after work. And so she starts a blog, and she develops friendships through the blog. So it's a pretty interesting book. And then towards the end of the book, she starts getting famous, and people start interviewing her. And so she talks about like the New York Times food editor comes to her house, and she talked about cooking dinner for her, and it's just really interesting. I will say Julie is not a particularly likable person, and a lot of her friends that she talks about in the book aren't very likable either, so I don't necessarily recommend this book. I have just rented the movie, and I'm planning to watch it this weekend, and so I've seen it before, but I'm going to rewatch it now that I've read the book. But on the whole, I wasn't like blown away by this book or anything. It was a good way to kill time at work when it's slow, but I was glad I didn't have to read it on my own personal time. But yeah, it was a good book, but not great, and not something I would particularly recommend. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the movie again now, because I really like Meryl Streep. And honestly, I wish they would create a whole movie about Julia Child, with Meryl Streep as Julia Child. So because I read her biography, Julia Child's biography, a few years ago, and she was a really fascinating lady. The next book I want to talk to you about was definitely my favorite book of the month, and that is Margaret Fuller, A New American Life by Megan Marshall. Margaret Fuller is a figure in American transcendentalism. She was born in 1810, and she died in 1850, very tragically, as a 40-year-old. She was shipwrecked right off the coast of New York, or I guess it's New Jersey, Fire Island, New Jersey, and she was inside of land, but their boat got stuck on a sandbar, and she couldn't swim, and there weren't any lifeboats, or very few, and so she decided to drown with her husband and her child. So it's very tragic, but she was the firstborn child of her parents, and her father, Timothy Fuller, basically raised her as a son, and so he gave her this like really proper classical education, and she was very intelligent for her age, she was just very intelligent, but of course because she was a woman, she couldn't go to, Harvard or divinity school or anything like that, and so she had to earn her way as a teacher, but she was also very involved in the Transcendentalism movement, and eventually she got so well known that she began holding conversations for women where they would discuss, intellectual ideas like what is beauty and how does the myths play into our ideas of beauty and, what is intelligence and just very intellectual concepts. And then she was hired on by Horace Greenlee as an editor at the New York Daily Tribune. So she moved to New York and she became a columnist and an editor for that paper. And then she was assigned to cover the Italian Revolution. Italy was trying to unite as one country, so she went over to Italy, and while she was over there, she met an Italian and fell in love and had a child with him, and they might have gotten married. There's not 100% proof, but the historians generally think they got married. And then on her way back to America, she shipwrecked, and so she never got to bring her baby to shore to introduce him to her family and to her friends. So it's quite a tragic story, but Margaret Fuller was a really fascinating woman, and I highly enjoyed learning more about her. I'd read about her in other books, books about, Ralph Waldo Emerson, because they were very close, and some people think they might have had a little bit of a fling, but they don't know for sure, but just based on her letters and things. So yeah, really recommend this if you're interested in Transcendentalism, or if you're looking for a really good biography to read. This was just a great biography, and I highly recommend it. Gave it 4 stars, really loved it, really wish I could write a book like this because it was just a great book overall. And comparing it to the Florence Harding biography I read in the beginning of the month, this was just 1,000 times better. Just really loved it. Finally, I finished A Little Something Different by Sandy Hall. I got this from Interlibrary Loan, which is why it's got this big sticker on it. This is a really cute little YA romance book that I heard about from Felicia over at Little Prairie Library. This book is told through 14 different perspectives. All of these different people are witnessing the love story of Gabe and Leah, and Gabe and Leah are never directly speak, so all of this is shown through their roommates and their creative writing professor and a squirrel that sees them on campus all their time and a waitress at the cafe they always go to, and various different perspectives. And it's just really interesting, and I actually really liked it because Leah is an Asian girl, and then Gabe has hearing aids, and I, as you can probably see, have hearing aids, and I've had hearing aids since I was 5 years old. And I don't think I've ever read a book with a person that has hearing aids. So this is really cool. I was really excited about that. I think I've read books with deaf people, and I've read books about Helen Keller and things like that. But this was the first book that I can remember about a person that is wearing a hearing aid and just, having a normal life, as well as having a hearing aid, which is like me. I have a hearing aid and I have a normal life, fairly normal. And yeah, I was really excited. This is really cute. And if you're looking for diversity, and if you're looking for a book about a person that wears hearing aids, I would recommend this. It was really sweet, and I, thought it was really cute, really good. Yeah, those are the rest of the books that I read in June, and I posted my July TBR, which I'll link down below if you missed it. So I have a great reading month coming up in July, and I'm really excited about all those books. I hope everybody's having a great day, and you're reading some great books, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!